Hi everybody, welcome back. Today's probably going to be the last one of the microbit videos I'm going to do. I think this is number 6 now, and in this video I'm just going to show you some other bits and pieces you can do with the microbit, and I've called it using all inputs. Let's get coding. So we've opened up makecode.microbit.org. I'll put that link in the description. We're going to make another new project, and let's call this, I'm going to call this Sparkle, because one of the projects I'm going to do in this one is going to make a sparkler. So what I wanted to do in this video is just show you a couple of other things that you can do with the microbit. Some of it we've covered already, but it's kind of this is a reminder. The microbit, if you remember, has two buttons, A and B, and you can also press A and B at the same time. And on the simulator, another button appears when you want to do that. So if I bring the button on there, and so a fake button appears on the microbit to simulate buttons A and B pressed. And what I'm going to try and do today is I'm going to try and use all different ways of interacting with the buttons. So I'm going to create 3 blocks, one for button A, another one for button B, and another one for buttons A and B, button B, and another one for shaking. So on shake, you can see from this that there are some other things we can make it do as well. So maybe, if I remember, we'll try and do something for facing the screen up. So I'm just going to, so I plan to do something for shake, and I'm also going to do something for screen up. I've not used that before. I don't know quite how that works, but we'll see what we can do. I'm going to get rid of these other 2 starter blocks on here, so I've got a very simple project. Right, so when I press button A, I'm going to make it show an icon. Now an icon is only a number of predefined matrices that have been drawn. So there's a smiley face, I think. Yeah, so we've got a smiley face there. If none of those are anything that you'd like, you can always make your own. So you could use one of the, you could take show LEDs, and you could make your own image. It's kind of like a squash spider image, and then just slot that into the block. And then if I press button A over here, that image will appear on the screen. But I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use one of the predefined icons. So press the run button, press button A, and we've got that smiley face. So that's a very simple thing you can do. I'm going to make it so that when you press button B, it's going to display a message, and that's called show a string, because it's a line of letters, a string of letters. There could be numbers as well. I'm just going to say Colin was here. You're welcome to say Colin is here on yours, but you can just use it for your own messages. And if I do press button B now, you can see that the scrolling image says Colin was here. It's not very exciting. It's a bit slow. It could do with being faster, but I think that's the only speed that it goes at. Right, for pressing buttons A and B together, I want to do something and make like a sparkler, which is why I call this project a sparkle. And we're going to bring in a maths block of random. I want 2 of those, so I'm just going to put 2 on my desk. I'm going to bring in the LED block, and let's just explain this to you. and the LED block. So the LEDs are the little lights that are on the microbit, and I'm going to bring in the toggle block. And what toggle does, it means either turn it on. If the LED is turned off, it means turn it on, and if the LED is on, it means turn it off. And then it's got some X and Y coordinates. So we've got X and Y, and so the first one at the top there would be X equals 0, Y equals 0, and then we've got X equals 1, Y equals 0, 2, 3, 4. And then so the bottom one down the bottom there is Y equals 4, sorry, X equals 4, Y equals 4. So this is kind of like a bit like map reading, or yeah, it's a bit like map reading. You go along first and then we go down, but we start from that top left hand corner. It's similar to map reading, but in map reading you tend to start down here. The origin tends to be this bottom left hand corner, but in computing we start in the top left, and the first one's numbered 0 going across and then 0 coming down. So what I can do is I can get the computer to pick a random number between 0 and 4. And then if I pop that into the toggle block, so that will pick a random number between 0 and 4. And this will pick another random number between 0 and 4 for the Y position. I don't need that, I just use that to show you. And if I just pop that in the block there, if I press buttons A and B together, we get a random LED comes on. Press it again, it comes on again, and that keeps going on. And did you just see that one there went off? That's because the toggling then turns the light off if it's on. Now this isn't very sparkly at the moment, so what we can do is we can put a loop in. So there's a couple of loops in here we could use. The one I had been testing before I started this was this block here, but this just makes everything go without having to press anything. After a minute you just see the display starts, and that's repeating every 500 milliseconds. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to control this by pressing A and B. So I think the only one we can do is to have a loop that repeats a number of times. And if I pop that in there now and get rid of that one, let's say 50 times, and let's just see what happens when we press A and B. Okay, now it doesn't look like that's working, but I can assure you it is. But what we need to do is we need to put a little pause in here. So let's search for pause. So if I stick that inside my loop, and now if I press A and B, so we've got a bit of a sparkly effect going on. We could make that go a little bit faster. In fact, I'm going to change that to 100 because I'd like to see it a little bit longer than it showed. And I'm going to try changing that to 10. And then I'm going to press A and B together and see what happens. Okay, I think we could afford to go to 300. Press buttons A and B together. So I hope that gives you an idea of what's happening with the screen there. And you can change those to suit yourself. You need to make sure the numbers here are between 0 and 4. If you did like 0 and 2, for example, press buttons A and B together, you'll see it's just stuck itself in the first 3 columns. So that does need to be 0 and 4. Okay, now I'm going to program the on shake to be my clear screen option. So I'm going to look for clear. It's always good to have a way of clearing your program off at any time. So if I imagine I press button B, I pressed A and B, didn't I? And then I'm going to give it a shake. I give it a shake by pressing the shake button, and that goes away and clears the screen. And then the other thing I've got down here is that when the screen is up, I've had to do a little playing there, and I understand this a little bit better. We've got some different ways we can interact with the screen, and if I select I'm going to select if tilting it to the left. So I'm going to say if I tilt it to the left, I'm going to make it say left tilt. Right. I had a problem with the other ones I'd selected. I was trying to code this with screen up, but the screen up was then interfering with buttons A and B, because they work with the screen being up as well. So hopefully this will work. So I've got on there, so we're going to tilt the microbit to the left. It's going to say left tilt. Right, so let's just reset and run. So press button. Oh, all right, so I've gone to the simulator, I've tilted to the left, and that message has come up. So we could change that to an image or something. Right, so now I'm going to press button A. And the smiley face has come up, but in order to use a simulator, I've got to I'm fighting against myself here, because to get to the A, I'm making the simulator tilt. Hopefully when I copy it onto the microbit, that'll be a bit better. But if I press button B, yeah, this doesn't like it, because I'm having to shake it to make it work. Right, let's see what happens when we download that to the microbit. So let's connect up. So we need the so we've got the wire with that connection there to go into the top of the microbit. And I'm plugging the, I'll bring it back into view in a minute, sit between the two raspberries. And then I plug the other end into my external USB socket. And you can see on screen that it's acknowledged the microbit is there. If I come back to my coding page, then select download. That will copy the code onto the microbit. If yours ends up going to downloads, make sure you then you click on microbit, and then it will just be put onto the microbit. It needs to go straight onto the microbit. And press save. You can see in the background over here that the microbit is winking. Let's hope this works. Done. Right, so we coded this. So if I pressed button A, we get a smiley face. If we press button B, we get Colin was here, or whatever you've written. If I press buttons A and B together, we should get a lovely little sparkly display. There we go. And then if I give it a little shake, it goes blank. And hopefully now, if I tilt to the left, it says left tilt. Okay, so that was all I was going to show you in today's video, but because this is the last one, I just wanted to point out to you there are some other things you can do with the microbit. I don't know if you can see that along the bottom edge here there's lots of pins, as they're called, and you can attach. There's projects on the MakeCode site where you can connect a speaker using a couple of those connections, and those connections on the bottom of the microbit here can sit in another piece of hardware. So you can end up making things like robots. So this is a little robot that will just run around being an annoying little robot. And there's another feature of the microbits that if you were wanting to experiment, you can make the microbits send messages to each other. That might be something I might do another time, but that does need 2 microbits, and I've always tried to do these code alongs so you don't have to spend any money. But maybe now and again I'll show you something extra. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed my short series on microbits. I think the next ones I'm going to do is show you some new stuff come from Code Club and using Scratch, and they've got a nice new way of creating projects. All right, I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.